Archangel Michael says, "This message was hidden from you for 9 days by darkness. God has finally freed it. Open before midnight to unlock your destiny." My beloved child, the moment you opened this message, a shift already started around you. Archangel Michael stands near you right now, holding a scroll that was kept from your spirit for exactly 9 days. A thick shadow tried to wrap itself around this revelation, delaying it, hiding it, choking it, because what you are about to hear threatens everything that darkness used to control in your life. Listen carefully, there is a reason this message carries a deadline. Open before midnight. That is not fear. That is alignment. Midnight is the hour when realms collide, when destinies that were held back begin to unlock, when God marks a turning point in the life of someone he has chosen. And Archangel Michael is stepping forward because your turning point is now. He has been watching the battle around your mind, the confusion, the sudden heaviness, the strange delays, the tension that rose without explanation. These were not coincidences. These were indicators that heaven had released something for you, and darkness panicked. For 9 days, it tried to intercept the message meant to shift your path. But heaven does not lose battles. God has freed what was yours. Michael whispers, "You are closer than you think." You are not standing at the end, you are standing at a gate. And this gate leads to a destiny you've prayed for silently, painfully, secretly. The next steps you take will shape the next season of your life. That is why this moment is sacred. That is why you were brought here. And that is why you cannot afford to miss what is about to unfold. Something is being restored, something that was taken from you unfairly. Something is returning, something you thought was gone forever. Something is emerging, something tied to your name, your calling, your future. Stay right here. The truth that's coming next will shake the atmosphere around you. Type "I claim my destiny" in the comments if this is awakening something deep in your spirit. Blessing code 144 is now released. Before you move, breathe, because the revelation that follows will hit harder than this. Hold steady. The next moment is where the hidden becomes visible. Chosen soul, something in your spirit is rising even now, and that is not your imagination. That is the echo of heaven confirming that what was hidden from you for 9 days is not just a message, it is a turning point. Archangel Michael stands firmly at your right side, and he is not speaking softly anymore. His voice carries the weight of a commander who has fought for you long before you ever knew there was a battle. He reveals something now that darkness hoped you would never discover. The delay you experienced, the confusion that wrapped around your decisions, the moments where everything seemed to slow down or freeze, were not random. These were traces of a spiritual interception. Something was trying to keep you blind long enough for you to miss your appointed moment. But you did not miss it. You arrived right on time. Michael is showing me an image, a sealed letter, glowing with gold around its edges, but wrapped in 9 layers of shadow. Every day for the last 9 days, another layer fell. Not by your strength, not by your knowledge, not by your effort, but by God himself. Heaven counted each layer, heaven tracked each day, and heaven marked the moment the final chain snapped. That moment was today. And that is why you felt a strange pull to open this message. Even if you scrolled past it once, even if you thought of ignoring it, even if you felt overwhelmed or distracted, something in your spirit whispered, "Go back." That whisper was not you. That whisper was Michael, guiding you to a revelation the darkness fought to bury. You need to understand something vital. 9 days may sound small in earthly time, but spiritually, 9 symbolizes birthing, emergence, emergence after pressure, emergence after spiritual labor. Something in your life has been trying to be born, but the resistance around it grew stronger the closer you came to breakthrough. You found yourself facing situations that made no sense. A relationship that seemed stable suddenly felt tense. A plan that once felt clear became foggy. Communication with someone important grew strained. Your energy felt drained for no reason. Opportunities stalled right at the finish line. And you questioned yourself more than usual, wondering if you were imagining it all or losing momentum. But Michael says you were not imagining anything. What you felt was spiritual. The darkness did not fear your past. It feared your future. Specifically, it feared the moment you are walking into right now. Because when this message completes itself inside you, when this revelation settles in your spirit, when your eyes open to what has been waiting for you, something irreversible will shift. You will not go back into the patterns that held you. You will not remain in the confusion that circled you. You will not return to the fog that tried to blur your discernment. You are stepping into a form of clarity that darkness cannot withstand. Michael reveals another truth. There is a person connected to your destiny whose presence will become more significant in the coming days. This is not random companionship. This is alignment. This person carries a key, not in the literal sense, but in the spiritual sense. They represent a door that leads to healing, movement, or opportunity. Pay attention to the person who reappears in your life unexpectedly, or the one whose name rises in your mind without explanation, or the one you feel drawn to communicate with even if you do not fully understand why. This is not coincidence. This is orchestration. You may also feel a growing urge to release something or distance yourself from something. This could be a habit, a fear, a memory, or even a person whose presence has become heavy. Do not ignore this prompting. Michael is helping you separate what belongs in your next season from what cannot enter it. Some connections, even those once precious, have reached their expiration date. Some responsibilities you carried were never yours to carry. Some emotional burdens you held were never assigned by God. This next season will require you to move lighter, step freer, and release faster. And now Michael whispers something that causes the atmosphere to tremble. The path you are entering was blocked for 9 days, but the destiny it leads to has been prepared for years. You are not stepping into something fragile. You are stepping into something fortified. You are not walking into guesswork. You are walking into alignment. The reason this message demanded to be opened before midnight is because by the next sunrise, something in your life shifts into motion. Not immediately visible, not loud, not overwhelming at first, but undeniably real. A spiritual wheel begins to turn, and once it starts, nothing will stop it. You must hold steady, because what is about to be revealed next carries the deepest part of this hidden message. The next revelation will expose not just what was blocked, but why the enemy feared it so intensely. Something in your destiny carries power, influence, and spiritual weight you have not yet understood. And once that part is revealed, nothing will ever look the same for you again. Before you continue, breathe slowly. Let your spirit settle. What unfolds next is where the unseen becomes undeniable. Type "I open my destiny gate" in the comments if this is stirring your spirit. Blessing code 229 is now activated. Beloved one, the atmosphere around you is shifting even as you read this. Archangel Michael stands guard beside you, not as a distant figure of myth, but as a real and present warrior who has watched every attack that tried to break your spirit during these last 9 days. He is not simply revealing information now. He is unveiling strategy. He is showing you why darkness fought so violently to keep this message out of your hands, and why the spiritual pressure you felt recently was not random, but intentional resistance. You are approaching a revelation that would expose the enemy's tactics, detach you from hidden sabotage, and position you for a breakthrough that can no longer be postponed. What you are about to receive in this moment is something that many people never discern in time. But you were guided here, because the timing is divine. Michael begins by revealing what was concealed beneath the 9 days of interference. Something in your destiny is scheduled to activate, not in a distant season, but in this current window of your life. This activation involves clarity, direction, and a shift in your spiritual authority. You are not stepping into a small breakthrough. You are being aligned with a purpose that affects not just your personal path, but the atmosphere of those connected to you. There is a ripple effect forming around your name, and this is what darkness tried to disrupt. When you gain clarity, when you step into your assignment, when you walk in confidence, the enemy loses jurisdiction. But more than that, people who are tied to your calling also begin to rise. This is why the pressure increased so suddenly. You are more influential in the spiritual realm than you realize. Michael shows an image, a large door made of radiant light, suspended in a dark corridor. For 9 days this door flickered, almost faded, almost vanished. But now it glows stronger than ever. This door represents the opportunity, the alignment, the spiritual activation awaiting you. Behind it lies something heaven has prepared for a long time. It may be a new phase in your purpose, a relationship restoration, a calling, a shift in your livelihood, or a destined level connection. Whatever it is, the enemy saw its light before you did. And that is why it fought to distract you, drain you, and delay your discernment. Michael says you have been carrying spiritual exhaustion that did not originate from you. Thoughts that were not your own whispered discouragement. A heaviness pressed your chest in moments where nothing in your life had changed, yet you felt burdened. That was not emotional instability. It was spiritual interference. You need to hear this clearly. You were not losing strength. You were being targeted. But the attack failed. The message reached you. And now your spirit is awakening to the truth behind the tension. There is also something else Michael reveals. A significant change is coming in the way you make decisions. You have been second-guessing yourself, questioning your intuition, doubting your sense of direction. This was a result of confusion intentionally pressed against your mind. But your clarity is returning now, and not slowly. In the next few days, you will notice sharpness in your thoughts, certainty in your choices, and a renewed ability to discern people's intentions, opportunities, and spiritual atmospheres. This clarity will feel like a gift, but it is actually your original design. The interference only dimmed it temporarily. Another truth Michael wants you to understand is that someone in your circle has been carrying energy that conflicts with your calling. This person may not be malicious. They may not even be aware of how their presence affects you. But spiritually, their frequency and your destiny are not aligned. This is why interactions with them have felt draining, confusing, or heavy recently. It is not personal. It is spiritual misalignment. The next season of your life requires emotional and spiritual space, and heaven is making room by loosening the influence of anyone who cannot walk with you into your next level. Pay attention to the people who fade quietly or shift in communication. This is divine pruning, not rejection. Michael also reveals something hidden in your future. There is an unexpected opportunity approaching you. It may come through a message, a conversation, a reconnection, or a change in direction. It may look small at first, but it carries destined level weight. Darkness tried to block this moment because what enters your life after midnight will begin shaping the next phase of your purpose. Your spirit is being prepared to recognize this opportunity so you do not overlook it. You are being aligned with the timing of heaven. The next part of the message will reveal the deeper spiritual assignment behind this midnight deadline and why your destiny is entering a phase of acceleration. Before you move forward, stay here for a moment. Let your spirit register the shift happening inside you. Something is unlocking. Before you continue, take a breath. The next revelation carries the heart of the message and must be received with stillness. You are stepping into something sacred. Like this message, share it with someone who needs clarity. Comment your confirmation and make sure to subscribe so you never miss another divine release. Your engagement pushes this message into the path of someone who desperately needs it right now. And yes, amplify the light by lifting this channel in the algorithm. Heaven uses your action as a seed of impact. Type "My destiny opens now" in the comments if this part is awakening clarity in your spirit. Blessing code 331 is now active. When heaven moves a word through a channel, it does not move for entertainment, but for transformation. Every time you lift this mission, you help carry God's light into homes where heaviness has lingered for years. Michael shows me rivers of living water flowing through every soul reached here, and your support becomes the seed that keeps those rivers spreading. The Lord says, "As you pour into my work, I pour into your future," and this is not symbolic language. It is a living promise. I am inviting you directly. When you choose to stand with this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you join in a harvest of souls waiting for deliverance. Your giving becomes a prophetic act, a strike of light against the darkness that tried to silence this message for 9 days. To everyone who supports, I speak blessings over your home, your path, and your destiny. Step into this moment and activate what heaven is releasing through you. Beloved heart, the moment you enter this next revelation, the air around you shifts again, almost as if the unseen realm is leaning closer to listen with you. Archangel Michael stands before you, not in silence this time, but in motion. His sword is drawn, not in aggression, but in purpose. There is a reason for this posture, and you will understand it as this message unfolds. What was hidden from you for 9 days has layers, and with each part you receive, another layer is pulled back. Now you stand before the part of the revelation that exposes not only what darkness tried to hide, but why it feared you finding it. This is the moment in which your identity, your authority, and your destiny converge, and heaven starts connecting the dots that have puzzled you for years. Michael reveals a truth that may feel startling. You have been walking under a spiritual assignment long before you consciously recognized it. There have been seasons in your life where you felt different from others, moved differently, sensed danger before it came, felt burdens that were not yours, or carried compassion that others could not understand. These were not personality quirks. These were signs of a calling. And now heaven is removing the fog so you can finally understand the depth of what has been placed inside you. You have always been spiritually sensitive. You have always been intuitively guided. You have always been marked. Darkness knew it. Heaven knew it. You are only now fully realizing it. Michael says your discernment has been under attack for a long time. The enemy attempted to disconnect you from your inner knowing, from your spiritual instincts, from the subtle nudges God places inside your awareness. At moments, you second-guessed what you felt, dismissed what you sensed, or backed away from what your spirit recognized. That confusion was engineered. Darkness feared what you would become, if you ever saw yourself clearly. But these last 9 days have broken something open. A clarity that was once dimmed is now igniting. A spiritual sense that was once muffled is sharpening. You are becoming sensitive again, but this time with maturity. Not fragile, not overwhelmed, not confused. Activated. Michael now shows a scene, a pathway stretching ahead of you, but not straight. It curves like a river between tall walls of light. Each turn represents a decision you will soon face. These are not ordinary decisions. They are shifts in your spiritual trajectory. Some will be opportunities disguised as interruptions. Some will be invitations disguised as inconveniences. Some will be people disguised as answers. And some will be people disguised as distractions. But your discernment is rising to meet them. You will feel a pull in your spirit, a knowing, a sense of this is where I should go or this is where I need to stop. This is the gift darkness tried to strip from you. Heaven has returned it. Michael leans forward and says, "You are stepping into days of divine precision." What this means is that the next season of your life will not be scattered or blurry. You will move with clarity, and the timing of heaven will become more apparent. You will notice patterns, certain thoughts repeating, certain signs appearing, certain names returning, certain opportunities emerging at unusual times. This is not coincidence. This is orchestration. You are being drawn into alignment, and everything that distracted you previously will begin to lose its power. Your focus is being restored. There is also a truth you must hear with calmness. Someone around you has been unintentionally amplifying spiritual interference. This does not make them an enemy. It simply means their energy, their state of mind, or their unresolved inner battles have been spilling over into your atmosphere. You may have felt drained after conversations with them, or unsettled after spending time near them. You may have noticed your discernment becoming dull in their presence. This is because your spirit is advancing while theirs is stagnant. As you rise, mismatches become clearer. Michael is not asking you to cut them off harshly. He is guiding you to create boundaries that preserve your spiritual clarity. Michael is also revealing something about your future path. A divine encounter is approaching. This encounter may come through a person, a message, an event, or an unexpected shift. It will not be loud. It will not be dramatic. It will come quietly, almost naturally, but it will carry the fingerprint of heaven. This encounter will redirect something in your life. It may open a new door, close an old one, clarify something you've been confused about, or confirm something you've been sensing. This is why the message had to reach you before midnight. The encounter aligns with a heavenly timetable. Your spirit must be awake to recognize it. Now Michael whispers a revelation that strikes the innermost parts of your being. What is coming next requires your agreement. Heaven will not force what belongs to you into your life. You must step toward it. You must receive it. You must acknowledge the shift instead of shrinking from it. This next phase does not activate through fear, hesitation, or doubt. It activates through clarity, boldness, and spiritual awareness. That is why heaven fought to deliver this message. That is why darkness tried to stop it. You are standing at the threshold of a destiny gate, and once you pass through it, your path will not resemble your past. In the next revelation, something long hidden will be revealed. Something about your calling, your connection to divine timing, and your role in the spiritual battles that have surrounded you since childhood. Before stepping into that, let your spirit settle. You are absorbing something sacred. Hold steady for what comes next. You will want to witness the unfolding. Type "I step into divine precision" in the comments if your spirit is receiving this. Blessing code 448 is now released. Beloved spirit, as you step into this next unveiling, the realm around you becomes even more alert, because this is the portion where deeper truth begins to rise from the places you never thought to look. Archangel Michael stands at your side with a seriousness that feels different from the previous moments. His wings are not at rest. They are slightly lifted, as though he is preparing to shield you from a wave of understanding that might shake you at first, but strengthen you profoundly. This is not a warning. This is preparation. What you are about to receive requires maturity of spirit, calmness of heart, and the willingness to see beyond the surface of your life. You are entering the part of this message that was most fiercely resisted during those 9 days of spiritual interference. Darkness did not fear your awareness of the delay. It feared your awareness of the truth buried beneath it. Michael reveals now that the interference you faced was not random pressure, but a direct response to a spiritual awakening that began inside you months ago. You may not have realized it consciously, but there were moments when your spirit felt restless. Moments where you felt a shift but could not describe it. Moments where your old patterns no longer satisfied you. You may have felt an inner pull towards something higher, deeper, or more intentional. That pull was the stirring of your calling. Heaven noticed. Darkness noticed. And a battle began around you long before you saw the signs. The 9 days of blockage were simply the final surge of resistance before breakthrough. Michael now brings forth an image, a sealed chamber deep within you, hidden yet glowing, containing something precious that you have not fully accessed in your life. This chamber holds your spiritual identity, your assignment, and the authority God placed on your name. For years, you have only touched the edges of that identity. Life distracted you, responsibility weighed you down, pain suppressed you, and uncertainty silenced parts of your power. But the chamber never dimmed. It simply waited. And the events of these recent days, especially the heaviness, the strange delays, the emotional waves, were signals that the chamber was beginning to open. Darkness attempted to shut it back, because once your identity awakens, the limitations that once controlled you no longer hold power. Michael says this awakening is not loud. It does not come with fireworks or sudden dramatic change. It comes quietly, like dawn breaking through the cracks of a dark sky. One small ray at a time. One realization at a time. One shift in awareness at a time. You may have already noticed hints of it in the way your spirit reacts to negativity, in the way your intuition feels sharper, in the way your heart feels more sensitive to spiritual cues. You are not imagining these changes. You are evolving. Heaven is opening something inside you that was previously sealed for your protection. You were not ready before. Now you are. There is something else Michael now reveals. Your spirit carries a sensitivity to environments and people because you were designed to discern spiritual atmosphere. This is why certain places drain you, while others revive you. This is why certain people cause emotional fog, while others bring peace. You were never meant to ignore these signals. They were guiding you. But for years, your sensitivity felt like a burden. You thought you were overreacting. You thought you were reading too much into things. You were not. Your discernment is a gift, not a flaw. Darkness fought it because it exposes deception, manipulation, confusion, and spiritual interference. But now, this gift is intensifying. Michael also reveals that your voice carries weight. Not just your literal voice, but the voice of your presence, your decisions, your declarations, and your spiritual intention. When you speak, something shifts. When you decide, something changes. When you pray, something stirs. You may not have recognized the authority you carry, but the spiritual realm has always recognized it. Darkness feared your voice before you even learned to use it. And these 9 days of interference were an attempt to silence your spirit before it could rise. Now, Michael turns your attention to something important. A decision awaits you in the coming days. This decision will not appear dramatic. It may seem ordinary at first glance, but spiritually, it will mark a turning point. This decision could involve a relationship, a direction in your life, a shift in your priorities, or an act of release. Whatever it is, Heaven will guide your discernment. Your intuition will speak with clarity. Pay attention to the quiet pull inside your spirit. That pull is Michael guiding you toward alignment. He wants you to understand that your destiny does not shift through grand gestures alone. It shifts through the small, spiritually charged decisions that redirect your path. Michael now whispers a deeper truth. You are stepping into a season where heaven will trust you with greater insight. This means dreams may become more vivid, thoughts more prophetic, intuition more direct, and moments of spiritual awareness more frequent. This is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. You are not losing your stability. You are gaining sight. You are not becoming overwhelmed. You are becoming awakened. The next message that follows will bring clarity to something that has weighed on your heart for years. Something connected to your past, your relationships, and your purpose. What comes next will not only explain the delay of the 9 days, it will explain the delays of entire seasons of your life. Before stepping into that revelation, pause. Let this truth settle into you. You are not who you used to be. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. Hold steady, because what unfolds next will shift the way you see everything. Type "My Spirit Awakens" now in the comments if this is speaking to your inner being. Blessing code 515 is now activated. Beloved soul, as you cross into this next unveiling, the spiritual pressure around you shifts once again, almost as if heaven is leaning closer and darkness is stepping back. Archangel Michael stands before you with a calm authority that settles your inner atmosphere. His presence is steady, unwavering, and charged with clarity. This is the part of the message where the hidden becomes comprehensible, where the confusion of past seasons is explained, and where the deeper purpose behind the 9 days of interference is illuminated with unmistakable truth. You are stepping into a revelation that connects your past, your present, and your future in a way that may stir your heart, but will ultimately strengthen your spirit. Michael reveals now that the delays you experienced were never about weakness, failure, or personal shortcomings. They were connected to a larger pattern in your life, one that has repeated itself in cycles that left you wondering why certain opportunities slipped away, why certain connections shifted suddenly, why certain breakthroughs seemed to get so close yet remained out of reach. These were not coincidences. These were targeted interruptions. Darkness used distraction, emotional turbulence, unexpected obstacles, and relational tension to destabilize you just before moments of breakthrough. You may not have recognized it then, but now heaven is showing you the pattern clearly so you can break it once and for all. Michael brings forth an image of your life as a timeline, with threads of light weaving through it. These threads represent divine alignment, moments where heaven tried to shift you, guide you, or elevate you. But near several of those threads, there are dark smudges representing interference. These smudges did not erase your destiny, but they delayed your alignment. They caused mistiming, emotional confusion, and spiritual exhaustion. You questioned yourself in those seasons. You blamed your choices. You wondered why clarity came so slowly. But the truth is that darkness feared your acceleration. It feared what would happen the moment you stepped into your real identity, your true calling, your full spiritual authority. Michael now reveals something that touches the tender parts of your heart. Someone in your past, or perhaps someone currently in your life, was unknowingly used as a point of interference. This does not mean they intended harm. It simply means that their energy, their emotional state, or their spiritual alignment created openings for confusion to seep in. Every time you moved closer to clarity, this person's influence clouded the path. You may have felt drained in their presence, conflicted when making decisions involving them, or hesitant when they spoke into your life. You may have questioned why your spirit felt unsettled even when nothing appeared wrong. This is because your spirit was sensing what your mind had not yet understood. Their frequency was out of alignment with your calling. Michael does not reveal this to create division, but to bring understanding. When your destiny begins to unfold, heaven shifts the relationships around you. Some people cannot walk with you into your next season. Some connections belong to an earlier version of you, not the awakened version rising now. And some people were meant only for a chapter, not the entire book. This revelation is not about loss. It is about liberation. It is about freeing your path from weights that were not yours to carry. There is also something Michael reveals about your internal battles. You have been harder on yourself than heaven ever intended. You blamed yourself for delays that were spiritual in nature. You criticized yourself for emotional heaviness that came from battles you could not see. You questioned your strength, when the real issue was the intensity of the resistance you were facing. But today, Michael declares that the season of self-blame is ending. You are stepping into a season of clarity, self-compassion, and alignment with your true identity. You will begin to see yourself the way heaven sees you, not weak, not lost, not unworthy, but chosen, equipped, and spiritually attuned. Michael now unveils a powerful truth. Your destiny carries influence. Your voice carries resonance. Your path carries weight. When you step into clarity, others follow. When you heal, others are inspired to heal. When you rise, others find strength to rise. This is why darkness fought you so fiercely. You are not an ordinary soul. You are a catalyst. You carry a spiritual presence that shifts atmospheres. You carry a calling that activates change in others. Heaven has assigned people to your life who will awaken because you awaken. And this is the part darkness feared the most. Michael shows another image, a key, suspended over your spirit. This key represents access to something new, a season, a connection, a purpose, or an opportunity. The 9 days of interference were an attempt to keep this key from descending into your awareness. But heaven has overruled the delay. The key is falling into place. And once it integrates into your life, you will notice sudden movement where there was stagnation, sudden clarity where there was confusion, sudden alignment where there was chaos. This is not imagination. This divine timing. Michael whispers now with unmistakable certainty, you are approaching a moment that will define the next chapter of your destiny. This moment may not be dramatic in the physical realm, but it will be monumental in the spiritual realm. You may wake up one morning with clarity you have never known. You may meet someone whose presence shifts everything. You may receive news that redirects your path. You may feel a prompting in your spirit that leads to a breakthrough. Whatever form it takes, this moment has already been written. And nothing, no interference, no confusion, no delay, can stop what heaven has set in motion. Before you receive the next revelation, allow this one to take root inside you. Your life is not restarting, it is unfolding. Your destiny is not delayed, it is aligning. And your spirit is not weakening, it is awakening. Hold steady, because the next unveiling carries the truth that darkness feared the most. Type I align with heaven's timing in the comments if this is resonating deeply within you. Blessing code 609 has now been released. Beloved one, as you step into this next unfolding, the realm around you grows even more attentive, as if the unseen is preparing to reveal a truth that will realign the deepest layers of your spirit. Archangel Michael stands before you not with urgency, but with a profound steadiness. His presence feels like a shield, a confirmation, a reassurance that what you are about to receive will not overwhelm you, but empower you in ways you might not expect. This is the part of the message where heaven begins to uncover the purpose behind the pressure, the meaning behind the mystery, and the truth behind the spiritual turbulence that tried to silence this revelation for 9 long days. You have arrived at the threshold of understanding something that has hovered around your life for years without full clarity. Michael reveals now that one of the greatest challenges you have faced throughout your life has been misunderstanding your own spiritual design. You often thought you were too sensitive, too emotional, too alert, too intuitive, too quick to feel what others ignore. But heaven designed you that way intentionally. You were meant to pick up on shifts, discern hidden motives, sense spiritual atmospheres, and perceive changes before they manifest. This sensitivity was not weakness, it was assignment. Darkness attempted to twist this gift into a burden so you would suppress it, doubt it, or ignore it. But now heaven is restoring this gift to its rightful purpose. You are awakening to see not only the world differently, but yourself differently. Michael brings forth an image of you standing on a cliff edge overlooking a vast landscape of your life. From this height, you can see patterns you never noticed before. You can see how certain events pushed you forward, how certain losses redirected you, how certain delays protected you, and how certain relationships shaped your discernment. What once felt like random chaos now reveals itself as divine choreography. This perspective is what darkness feared you gaining. Because once you see your life from the higher vantage point, you no longer question your path. You no longer doubt the journey. You no longer shrink from your calling. You begin to understand why you were set apart, why you walked through seasons others did not understand, why your heart carried burdens that felt invisible to everyone else. Michael now reveals something intimate. Your destiny was marked with influence before you were conscious of it. Your presence carries weight not because of anything you have done, but because of who you are spiritually. When you enter a room, atmospheres shift. When you speak from your spirit, chains break. When you pray from sincerity, something in the unseen begins to tremble. This is the depth of your calling, and it has always been present, even in your most uncertain seasons. People have been comforted around you without knowing why. Others have felt exposed in your presence without understanding the reason. Some have been drawn to you without explanation. Others felt threatened by your quiet strength. All of this was connected to the spiritual assignment on your life. Michael says now that there is an anointing on your life that has been dormant for too long. Not because you failed, but because the timing of heaven had not yet arrived for its activation. You are stepping into that activation now. This is why the 9 days of interference were so aggressive. Heaven was preparing to release something through you, to awaken a part of your calling, to elevate your discernment, and to sharpen your spiritual authority. Darkness sensed this acceleration and attempted to block the message that would unlock your next season. But it failed. You are receiving what was always meant to reach you. Michael now turns your attention to an area of your life that has felt stagnant or undefined. This area may involve relationships, career direction, spiritual purpose, emotional healing, or personal growth. You have felt as if something is missing, as if a piece of the puzzle is just out of reach. You have searched internally for clarity, externally for confirmation, and spiritually for direction. But the clarity remained dim. This is because the message you are receiving now had to be freed first. Heaven operates in sequence, and your spirit needed this revelation before the next piece could fall into place. A shift is approaching in that area, not from external force, but from internal awakening. As your identity becomes clearer, your direction becomes unmistakable. Michael reveals another truth. The version of you that is emerging is not someone new. It is the real you, the one buried under responsibilities, expectations, fears, doubts, and emotional wounds. You are shedding layers that never belonged to your spirit. You are releasing burdens that were never yours to hold. You are stepping out of roles you were never meant to fill. And as these layers fall away, your true spiritual posture rises. You will find yourself thinking differently, responding differently, choosing differently, and moving differently. Not because you are changing who you are, but because you are returning to who you were created to be. Michael shows an image of light breaking through a dark covering. The covering represents every season where you felt unseen, unheard, misunderstood, or overlooked. The light represents your emergence, your rise, your awakening. This is not a temporary emotional surge. It is a spiritual elevation. You are stepping into a season where heaven will reveal what has been concealed, restore what has been delayed, and activate what has been dormant. Heaven wants you to understand that the next revelation will go deeper. It will expose the spiritual contract that darkness attempted to place around your path and how this message is breaking it. But before you step into that unveiling, allow your spirit to absorb what you have received here. You are rising into clarity, rising into identity, rising into destiny, and nothing can stop what heaven has begun in you. Type "I rise in my true identity" in the comments if this is speaking directly into your spirit. Blessing code 744 is now released. Beloved heart, as you move into this next unveiling, the entire spiritual atmosphere around you shifts into a deeper stillness, as if heaven itself is holding its breath for what comes next. Archangel Michael stands before you with a radiance that feels stronger, more intentional, more decisive than anything you have felt in the previous parts of this divine message. His presence is not only a shield now, it is a declaration. What you are about to receive is the portion of the revelation that darkness fought most desperately to keep from reaching you during those 9 days of interference. It is the truth that would expose the chains, break the cycles, and unlock the spiritual authority that has been waiting dormant inside your identity. This moment carries weight. It carries clarity. It carries destiny. And heaven has guided you here because the timing is perfect. Michael reveals now that there has been a spiritual contract, an unseen agreement that darkness attempted to write over your life without your permission. This contract was formed through moments of emotional injury, seasons of confusion, times of deep disappointment, words spoken in frustration, or pain you absorbed from others. Every wound became a doorway where a false identity tried to attach itself to you. You may have noticed patterns that repeated themselves in your life, patterns that made you feel stuck, patterns that convinced you that certain disappointments were inevitable. These patterns were not destiny, they were spiritual interference. And they were designed to prevent you from recognizing the magnitude of what you carry. Michael shows an image of your name written in light, yet covered by thin layers of shadow. Each layer represents a lie you once believed, that you were not enough, that you were too broken, that you were too late, that you were too uncertain, that you were too wounded to fulfill your purpose. These lies were not born within you. They were whispered into your mind in vulnerable moments. But heaven is peeling back those layers one by one, allowing you to see your name as heaven sees it, pure, radiant, powerful, aligned. Michael now reveals something deeper. The 9 days of spiritual blocking were connected to a moment of awakening that was scheduled for you across realms. Heaven was preparing to break that false contract, to uproot the spiritual interference, and to restore your identity. Darkness sensed that breakthrough and attempted its final blockade. But today, that contract shatters. Heaven has declared an override. You are not bound by the labels you once carried. You are not bound by the emotional weight of past seasons. You are not bound by the misinterpretations others placed on you. You are emerging from spiritual limitation into divine clarity. Michael moves closer and places his hand upon your spirit. It is not a physical touch, but a spiritual impression. Strong, steady, reassuring. He says, "You have underestimated your calling. What is inside you carries weight in the unseen realm. Your resolve scares the darkness. Your prayers shake the atmosphere. Your compassion heals the wounded. Your intuition exposes deception. Your presence reshapes rooms. You were never ordinary. You were hidden. Heaven hid you not to withhold your purpose, but to protect your purity until the appointed time. That appointed time is now emerging." Michael brings forth another image, a door with two hinges. One hinge represents what is leaving your life. The other hinge represents what is entering. The door swings in both directions. Some shifts will feel like release. Others will feel like arrival. You may notice certain relationships becoming quieter, certain desires fading, certain distractions losing their grip. These are signs of release. You may also begin noticing new opportunities, unexpected clarity, sudden confidence, and internal peace rising inside you. These are signs of arrival. Both movements are part of your elevation. Michael reveals that heaven has assigned help to you in this season: spiritual reinforcement, divine connections, and moments of clarity that will feel like sudden revelation. You are not walking into this next season by yourself. You will sense guidance in your decisions. You will feel nudges in your spirit steering you. You will experience moments where something just clicks without explanation. This is heaven aligning you with the next chapter of your destiny. Heaven wants you to know that you are stepping into a season of restoration. Not just restoration of opportunities, but restoration of identity, restoration of confidence, restoration of direction, and restoration of spiritual authority. The parts of you that felt lost, suppressed, or forgotten are rising again. You will begin remembering pieces of yourself you thought were gone. You will rediscover dreams you set aside out of fear. You will awaken desires that were buried under survival. Your spirit will remember who you are. Michael whispers one more truth before this part closes. The reason this message demanded to be opened before midnight is because you are crossing out of the old and into the new. Midnight is not just a time. It is a gate. You are stepping through that gate even now. The next revelation will open the storyline of your destiny in ways you may have never imagined. But before you move forward, take a moment. Breathe. Let your spirit absorb what heaven has poured into you. Your rise is not coming. It is happening. Like this message, to lift it into more lives. Share it so others can awaken. Comment to anchor your spirit in agreement, and subscribe so you never miss another divine release. Hype this message so the algorithm cannot bury what heaven is revealing. Type "I break every false contract" in the comments if this is awakening truth within you. Blessing code 822 is now unlocked. There are moments when God releases a word that is not meant for entertainment, but for the rescue of souls, and this is one of those moments. As Michael breaks the layers that once hid truth from your spirit, heaven invites you to stand with this mission so that more hearts can receive the freedom you are experiencing now. The Lord says, "As my light flows through you, let it also flow through what you support, for your giving becomes the seed that carries deliverance into homes you may never visit." I am speaking to your spirit as one assigned to guide you. When you choose to lift this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you become a vessel through which God multiplies light. This is not ordinary giving. It is a prophetic act that breaks chains across generations. To every soul who supports, I release blessing, protection, and acceleration over your path. Step into this divine instruction and let heaven honor the seed you place in the ground. Beloved soul, As you enter this next unveiling, the spiritual realm grows intensely attentive, almost as if every angel assigned to your path is watching closely, waiting for the exact moment your spirit receives what comes next. Archangel Michael stands before you, not in quiet observation, but in active revelation. His sword is lowered, not in threat, but in declaration. You have reached the part of this divine message where deeper layers of truth begin to expand. This is where the revelation shifts from what happened to why it happened, from what was blocked to what is being released, from what the enemy attempted to suppress to what heaven is now bringing forth with unstoppable force. You are stepping into a portion of the message that carries weight, clarity, identity, and awakening, and heaven has aligned this moment precisely for you. Michael reveals now that one of the greatest spiritual battles over your life has never been about your resources, your relationships, your opportunities, or even your circumstances. The real battle has always been for your awareness. If darkness could keep you unaware of who you are, unaware of what you carry, unaware of the authority placed inside your spirit, unaware of the divine timing guiding your path, then it could delay your destiny without ever physically touching your life. Awareness is your doorway to breakthrough. Awareness is your gateway to elevation. Awareness is the weapon heaven is sharpening within you right now. For years, you have walked through seasons where you sensed things before they happened, but doubted those feelings. You felt nudges in your spirit, but questioned your intuition. You noticed patterns, but dismissed them as coincidence. You sensed shifts in relationships, but pushed aside your discernment. These moments were not random. They were indicators of the spiritual sensitivity woven into your identity since the moment of your creation. Darkness tried to make you believe your sensitivity was a flaw, when in truth, it was your greatest strength. Now heaven is activating that sensitivity in a new way, refining it, maturing it, aligning it with purpose, and drawing you into clarity that darkness can no longer cloud. Michael brings forth an image of a vast field divided into 3 sections. The first field is your past. It is full of memories, decisions, pain, lessons, breakthroughs, and moments of survival. The second field is your present. It is where you stand now, awake, transitioning, questioning, noticing patterns, stepping into truth. The third field is your future. That field glows. It pulses with possibility, purpose, connection, opportunity, and spiritual elevation. But between the present and the future lies a gate, a spiritual threshold that requires awareness, clarity, and agreement. This gate is the part of your destiny that was locked during the 9 days of interference. Darkness knew that once you reached this threshold with clarity, nothing would be able to stop the unfolding of your purpose. Michael now reveals something significant. You have been in a silent, shifting season without fully realizing it. People have moved differently around you. Opportunities have shifted positions. Desires you once chased have faded. New thoughts have risen unexpectedly. Priorities have changed. Your spirit has become quieter in noise, but louder in discernment. These are signals of spiritual transformation. Heaven has been pulling you into alignment, removing distractions, detoxing your atmosphere, sharpening your intuition, and preparing you for a moment of breakthrough that requires your spirit to be fully awake. Michael says, your spirit has matured beyond what your mind has acknowledged. You may still see yourself through the lens of old seasons, but heaven sees the version of you that has outgrown past cycles. You are stronger than you think, wiser than you realize, more aligned than you feel, and more prepared than you give yourself credit for. Your spirit has already stepped into the next chapter. Your consciousness is simply catching up. There is a powerful truth Michael unveils now. Your destiny involves influence, not in the shallow human sense, but in the spiritual sense. Your presence shifts people. Your words impact atmospheres. Your resilience inspires movement in others. Your spiritual sensitivity exposes deception. Your compassion heals invisible wounds. Your awakened identity activates others to awaken. This is why darkness has targeted you since childhood. It saw what you carried long before you did. Michael shows an image of a golden thread stretching through your timeline. Every time you felt isolated, misunderstood, displaced, overlooked, or spiritually burdened, that golden thread remained. It was heaven's reminder that your path was never random. You were being shaped, formed, trained, refined, not punished, prepared. Now, Michael shifts the revelation to your next season. He shows a new pattern emerging, one where things begin to align effortlessly. People who are connected to your destiny will begin to appear again or surface unexpectedly. Opportunities that once seemed impossible will suddenly open. Clarity will come in waves instead of fragments. Your intuition will become unmistakable. Your confidence will rise spontaneously. You may feel a renewed desire to start something, rebuild something, release something, or move towards something that has been dormant inside your heart. These shifts are not emotional impulses. They are spiritual activation. Michael whispers now, with the authority of one who has stood guard over your life from the beginning. You are approaching a divine appointment. This appointment may come through a message, a meeting, a dream, a sudden realization, or an internal shift. It will not arrive with chaos, but with clarity. It will feel like alignment, confirmation, resonance, certainty. You will know. Your spirit will recognize it instantly, because heaven has been preparing you to receive it. Before closing this part, Michael gives you a final truth. You are not stepping into a new chapter. You are stepping into your true chapter, the one you were born for. Everything before now is preparation. Everything ahead is purpose. Take a breath. The next revelation will go deeper into the divine architecture written over your life, and why heaven has chosen this exact moment to bring you into awakening. Type "I am ready for divine appointment" in the comments if this is awakening truth in you. Blessing code 933 has now been released. Beloved soul, as you enter this next unveiling, the atmosphere surrounding your spirit becomes charged with a depth that only appears when heaven is preparing to reveal something foundational, something structural, something that has shaped your path far longer than you realized. Archangel Michael stands before you with a presence that feels ancient yet intensely present, as though he is drawing from a timeline that stretches beyond your personal history and into the deeper architecture of your destiny. This part of the message is not just revelation, it is excavation. Heaven is about to uncover truths that sit beneath your memories, beneath your experiences, beneath your disappointments, beneath even your victories. What you are stepping into now is the portion where heaven shows you why your spirit has always felt different, why your journey has felt heavier, why your moments of breakthrough have been followed by intense resistance, and why the interference of the past 9 days was merely the final stand before a larger unveiling. Michael reveals now that your life has carried a spiritual pattern, one that activated long before adulthood, long before responsibility, long before heartbreak, long before awareness. This pattern began when heaven marked you with a calling that would require sensitivity, resilience, depth, and spiritual capacity. From a young age, you noticed things others overlook. You felt emotions deeply. You saw truth in situations where others remained blind. You carried burdens that did not belong solely to you. You felt responsible for peace, for clarity, for stability, for understanding. These were not accidents. These were indicators that heaven placed a mantle on your life that required early formation. But with early formation came early resistance. Darkness does not wait for someone to reach maturity before it begins its interference. It attacked your confidence before it could fully form. It clouded your identity before you understood your worth. It positioned people around you who projected their wounds onto your spirit. It created moments that made you question your intuition, suppress your voice, minimize your gifts, or shrink your presence. These were not coincidences. They were attempts to distort your spiritual blueprint before you had the language to defend it. Michael now brings forth an image of a blueprint, complex, layered, detailed. This blueprint represents your destiny. It contains assignments, connections, seasons, transitions, and alignments that heaven designed with precision. Darkness tried to smudge parts of this blueprint, not erase it, for it cannot be erased, but distort your ability to read it. Throughout your life, you may have felt moments of clarity followed by sudden confusion. You may have sensed purpose but struggled to step fully into it. You may have felt guided one moment but lost the next. This oscillation was not a reflection of instability within you. It was the result of interference around you. Michael reveals that the 9 days of blockage were actually a concentrated attempt to prevent you from reaching the section of your blueprint that activates alignment. For years, you have been moving through preparation phases. You learned to endure. You learned to discern. You learned to release. You learned to rebuild. But now, you are entering the phase of activation, the phase where the work you have done within begins to manifest without. Darkness feared this moment because once activation begins, cycles break, patterns dissolve, connections shift into place, opportunities align, and your path becomes illuminated in ways that no interference can dim. Michael leans in and speaks truth that resonates deeply within your spirit. Your destiny carries longevity. This means you are not stepping into something brief or temporary. The shift you are entering is sustained, significant, and spiritually reinforced. You are moving into a season where clarity will not be easily shaken, where peace will not be easily stolen, where discernment will not be easily clouded. The confusion that once attached itself to your decisions will begin to fall away. The heaviness that lingered in cycles will begin to dissolve. The hesitation that once held you back will begin to weaken. You are stepping into spiritual certainty. Michael also reveals that people connected to your future have been prepared without your knowledge. There are individuals whose lives are moving toward alignment with yours, not by coincidence, but by divine orchestration. Some of these people have walked through their own refining seasons. Some have been awakened. Some have been pruned. Some have been redirected. All of this so that when your paths converge, the connection will be purposeful, clean, aligned, and spiritually charged. Heaven is orchestrating meetings, conversations, reconnections, and introductions that will play a significant role in your next season. These people are not entering your life out of convenience. They are entering out of divine timing. Michael brings forth another truth. Your voice will become more influential in the coming months. Not necessarily in a public sense, though for some, that may be part of the calling. But influential in spiritual atmosphere. Influential in relationships, influential in purpose, influential in healing, influential in discernment. Your words will carry weight because they will originate from a place of clarity, alignment, and spiritual maturity. You will find yourself speaking truths you did not plan, offering insights you did not rehearse, and guiding people with wisdom that flows through you rather than from you. Michael now shows an image of a flame, a controlled flame that never dims, never flickers, never wavers. This flame represents your spirit after activation. You may have felt like your spirit burned erratically in past seasons, some days bright, other days dim. But the flame that heaven is igniting in you now is steady, unwavering, consistent. This steadiness is what darkness tried to interrupt during the 9 days of interference. But the flame has ignited. It cannot be extinguished. Before you step into the next revelation, which will unveil the heavenly alignment that is forming directly around your destiny, take a moment to absorb this truth. You are not stepping into a new season. You are stepping into your rightful one. Everything is aligning. Type "I receive my activation" in the comments if this revelation is grounding itself in your spirit. Blessing code 1066 is now released. Beloved spirit, as you cross into this next unveiling, the atmosphere around your soul becomes deeply reverent, almost as if heaven is creating a sacred stillness for the truth that is about to be revealed to you. Archangel Michael stands before you with a steady focus, a firmness in his presence that tells you that this part of the revelation carries something weightier, something that threads through every season of your life, something that could only be revealed now because your spirit has matured enough to hold it. This is where heaven begins showing you how every battle, every delay, every emotional storm, and every moment of confusion was tied to something far greater than you ever imagined. You are not stepping into random knowledge. You are stepping into understanding that will shift how you see yourself and how you walk forward from this moment. Michael reveals now that one of the deepest truths of your life is this: you have been protected more often than you have been aware. There were seasons where doors did not open, where relationships fell apart unexpectedly, where opportunities slipped away, where plans you thought were promising collapsed without warning. In those moments, you felt frustration, disappointment, or confusion. You wondered if you had done something wrong, if the timing was off, or if heaven had forgotten your needs. But Michael shows that those moments were not rejections. They were redirections. Heaven was keeping you from paths that would have drained your spirit, trapped your destiny, or tied you to people who could not walk with you into the fullness of who you are becoming. Michael brings forth an image, a large map with many branching paths. Some paths look bright at first but end quickly in shadow. Other paths look narrow but lead into vast open fields of light. Throughout your life, you were guided away from deceptive paths, paths that looked good but would have dimmed your spirit, paths that felt promising but carried hidden traps, paths that involved people who did not have the capacity to honor or protect your calling. You may have felt loss when those paths closed, but heaven saw the truth behind what the physical world could not reveal. Those closures were protection, not punishment. There is also something Michael reveals about the 9 days of interference. This blockage was not just an attempt to stop a message from reaching you. It was an attempt to prevent a divine alignment from activating around you. In the spiritual realm, timings exist that open gates for new phases of destiny. These timings are precise, orchestrated, and deeply connected to the growth of your spirit. During the 9 days, heaven was preparing a rearrangement in your path. Things shifting into place, people being moved, clarity rising, unseen help being positioned, confusion lifting. Darkness sensed the movement and tried to delay your awareness, because once awareness aligns with heavenly timing, nothing can stop what comes next. Michael speaks with clarity now. Your life is entering a phase where alignment becomes your new normal. This means things will begin to make sense. The confusion that clouded your decisions for years will begin to disappear. The heaviness you carried without explanation will begin to lift. The cycles that repeated in your emotional life will begin to break. The people who drained your spirit will fade from your atmosphere. The desires that belong to an old version of you will lose their pull. The habits that held you back will begin to release their grip. And suddenly, without forcing anything, alignment will start to feel natural. Michael now reveals that heaven has been preparing someone who plays a significant role in your future alignment. This does not necessarily refer to romantic partnership, though for some, it may involve that, but it refers to someone whose presence will open a door, shift your direction, or amplify your purpose. This person has also been walking through their own awakening. Heaven has been refining them, positioning them, and aligning their timeline with yours. When your paths meet or reconnect, something will click, something will unlock, something will activate. Do not push this moment. Do not chase it. Heaven will arrange it. Your spirit will recognize it instantly. Michael shows an image of your spirit holding a lantern. For years, the lantern flickered. Sometimes bright, sometimes dim, sometimes overshadowed by environments or people around you. But now the flame inside the lantern burns steady. This steady flame represents the resilience heaven has built within you. You no longer break the way you once did. You no longer doubt the way you once did. You no longer fear the way you once did. The flame of your spirit is no longer vulnerable to every wind. You have grown stronger than you realize. Your experiences did not weaken you, they anchored you. You have learned to stand, to endure, to see, to discern, to wait, and to rise again. Michael also reveals that you will soon begin to notice signs around you, repeating numbers, recurring symbols, unexpected confirmations, sudden clarity, and inner knowing. These signs are not random. They are heaven's way of guiding you through the next steps. The next season of your life will not rely on guesswork. It will rely on guidance. You will feel drawn towards certain decisions with a clarity that leaves no room for doubt. You will step away from certain connections with peace rather than guilt. You will embrace new opportunities not out of desperation, but out of discernment. Michael whispers something powerful now. Your spirit is entering a stage of acceleration. What once took years will take months. What once took months will take weeks. What once felt distant will begin to approach quickly. This acceleration is heaven's response to your endurance. You have walked through fire without losing your compassion. You have endured storms without losing your hope. You have carried burdens without letting your heart turn bitter. Heaven has watched all of this, and now heaven responds. Before you move into the next revelation, which will tie together the full purpose of this message and prepare you for the gate of destiny that awaits in the final part, allow yourself to absorb this truth. You are not merely surviving your story. You are stepping into the chapter where everything aligns. Type "I step into alignment" in the comments if your spirit is receiving this. Blessing code 1188 is now released. Beloved soul, as you enter this final and most sacred unveiling, the entire spiritual atmosphere wraps around you like a mantle, steady and intentional. Archangel Michael stands before you with a presence unlike any moment before. His wings are not lifted in battle, nor folded in rest. They are spread lightly, in a posture that signifies completion, revelation, and release. This is the moment heaven has been guiding you towards since the very beginning of this message. The 9 days of darkness that attempted to hide this revelation were not merely an interruption. They were proof of the weight, the significance, and the destiny-level power contained in this final part. You are stepping into a truth that seals everything that has been revealed to you, a truth that ushers your spirit into alignment with the purpose heaven wrote over your life, long before you took your first breath. Michael reveals now that the true reason this message had to reach you before midnight is because midnight marks the crossing of realms. Midnight is not simply a moment in time. It is a threshold, a gate, a spiritual hinge that transitions you from one phase of identity, purpose, and alignment into another. Before midnight, heaven positions revelation. After midnight, heaven activates destiny. These words are not symbolic. They are literal in the spiritual realm. Something in your life is turning, shifting, and unlocking the moment your spirit receives this truth. The timing of this message is divine and intentional, chosen specifically for your life and your path. Michael now brings forth an image, a great book, ancient yet radiant, its pages glowing with golden inscriptions. This book represents your destiny, not the destiny others projected onto you, not the destiny shaped by trauma, expectation, pressure, or fear. The destiny heaven wrote, the destiny darkness tried to bury, the destiny your spirit has felt since childhood but could never fully articulate. As Michael opens the book, he reveals something powerful. Your destiny has chapters that have not yet been activated, assignments that have been preserved, opportunities that have been waiting for the right alignment, relationships that have been reserved for the right season, and a level of purpose that require every ounce of growth you have walked through. Michael says, your destiny was never delayed. You were being prepared. You were being shaped through every moment of confusion, every heartbreak, every disappointment, every desire you had to release, every shift that forced you to grow. Heaven used all of it. None of your experiences were wasted. Your spirit is now mature enough to step into the role heaven intended. You are ready to carry what once would have overwhelmed you, ready to walk into what once would have frightened you, ready to act on what once felt impossible. This is why the attacks intensified recently. Darkness launched its final attempts because heaven was aligning you with activation. Michael reveals another profound truth. The interference of the 9 days was connected to an assignment heaven is placing upon your voice. Your voice, whether spoken, written, expressed, lived, or embodied, carries a frequency that disrupts darkness. You may not fully realize this yet, but your presence shifts atmospheres, not out of effort but out of design. You have the ability to bring clarity where there is confusion, peace where there is chaos, truth where there is deception, and healing where there is brokenness. For years, this gift was subtle, hidden beneath survival, muted by self-doubt, overshadowed by pain. But now it is being awakened with intentional clarity. Heaven is trusting you with impact. Michael brings you deeper into the revelation as he shows an image of a gate made of pure light. It is tall, luminous, and alive with energy. This gate represents divine destiny activation. You are standing at the threshold of that gate right now. Not simply metaphorically, but spiritually. The moment you agree with what heaven is revealing in this message, the gate begins to open. You do not force it open. You do not push it. You simply align. Michael says, when your spirit agrees, heaven releases. And heaven is ready to release the next chapter of your life. Inside this gate, Michael shows visions, glimpses of alignment that will surface in your life. Connections that bring clarity instead of confusion. Opportunities that come with peace instead of pressure. Decisions that feel guided instead of forced. Direction that feels natural instead of uncertain. Healing that feels complete instead of temporary. Clarity that feels obvious instead of fragile. All of these are signs that the gate has opened. Michael now reveals something that may surprise you. You have angelic reinforcement assigned specifically for this new season. New angels will walk with you, assist you, strengthen your intuition, protect your path, and guide your decisions. Your spirit may begin sensing this through subtle impressions, unexpected peace, sudden clarity, or vivid dreams. Do not fear these experiences. They are simply evidence of the deep spiritual alignment activating around you. Heaven wants you to understand that the delay you experienced was not meant to discourage you. It was meant to position you. You are not behind. You are on time. You are not late. You are aligned. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. The moment your spirit receives this truth, the activation begins. Midnight is the turning point. You have reached it. For closing this sacred moment, Michael gives you one last message. Your destiny will not be silent anymore. The gate is open. Walk forward with confidence. This is not the end of your spiritual awakening. It is the beginning of your spiritual authority. Now breathe. Your life is shifting. Like this message so the algorithm lifts this revelation to others. Share it to awaken someone who is standing at their own midnight gate. Comment your confirmation and subscribe so that you never miss another divine release prepared for your spirit. Hype this message, for heaven will use your engagement as a ripple of impact. Type "My Destiny Activates" now in the comments if your spirit is receiving this truth. Blessing code 1444 is released over your path. In this holy moment, as heaven breaks open the gates of destiny before you, I invite you to stand with this mission as a vessel of divine impact. Souls around the world are waking, breaking free, and returning to the path God designed for them, and heaven is using this space as a lighthouse in their midnight hour. The Lord says, "When you sow into what brings light, I multiply light in your life." Your support, through super thanks, channel membership, or the PayPal link in the description, becomes a prophetic act that carries deliverance into homes drowning in silence and fear. Your giving is not a donation. It is a declaration that you stand with the movement of God's fire. To every soul who supports, I speak overflow, clarity, and protection over your path. Step boldly into this moment and let heaven honor the seed you plant into the mission of awakening.